was so much hype surrounding it.
Do you need me to be serious?
I mean, how do you deal with that?
Music interviews on FBI.
You're listening to FBI!
That is Twerps from their new record, Range Anxiety, and you're on FBI 94.5. But she got her stage name during her career as a dancer from the way her joints cracked when she was warming up. She danced professionally through her teen years, then quit dancing to make music full-time. She taught herself how to produce music, how to direct videos, and today she produces most of her songs and controls all the videos and imagery to all of those tracks. In August last year, she released her LP1 to so much hype. It was our album of the week when it came out on FBI. It was such an abrasive yet so incredibly delicate work. And you may have caught her at Laneway, or you may have seen one of her side shows last night, or you may be going to see that sold-out show tonight at the Metro. It is FKA Twigs. Thank you so much for joining us here at FBI.
Thank you for having me.
It's not a problem. Now, let's start. I want to start off right at the beginning. When you used to dance as like an 8-year-old, you started dancing when you were 8. Mm-hmm. Tell me a bit about that.
I think when I was young, I always used to beg my mum to take me to ballet lessons, but she never would because she said that dancing broke her heart and she wouldn't have it break mine. And that was kind of her theory. And then I went to the doctors, and I think I had like problems with like my knees or my ankles or something, and the doctor said, oh, she should go to ballet. And that was it for me. Then that was like my medicine because the doctor had prescribed it and my mum couldn't.
So what drew you to dancing at such a young age?
I don't know. Like I was thinking the other day about this video that my mum has of me, and I'm in the garden. I have like a red swimming costume on, and I'm like sort of humming a classical song in my head and trying to do ballet, and my mum was filming me on a video camera, and I danced for like 25 minutes just like singing in my head, and I don't know what I was doing. It was really weird, but I just always was drawn to kind of movement and sound and melodies, and I wanted to move to it. And then I kind of realised as I got older, because I moved to London to go to dance school, and I dropped out, and then I enrolled again the next year, and then I dropped out again, and I didn't understand what this conflict was inside myself, and I realised that it was actually the music that I loved and not necessarily the dancing.
So how long did that take for you to realise that?
I mean, I started dancing when I was 8, and I guess I dropped out of dance school when I was maybe 19 or 20. But then I was in the studio a lot, and I was working sort of 3 jobs to try and live in London, which is pretty expensive. And then I just thought, well, I know how to dance, so I might as well become a professional dancer and work sort of 2-3 times a week and be able to like afford my rent and be in the studio and have more time just to concentrate on music. And that was where the transition started, really.
Because you started so early, but even professionally you started really early as a dancer. Like you were going all around the world as like a little, like 13, 14, right?
I wouldn't say all around the world, but definitely like to London and back. I mean, I was a country girl. My mum would take me to London, and I do little dance jobs, and I kind of had a taster of what it was, but I didn't really like the industry that much. It just wasn't really for me. And
what was not to like about it?
I was quite quiet, and I didn't like the other kids. Like, they were always so loud and confident, and I always felt, I think, quite overshadowed. And I think it's sometimes I feel the same now, even in what I'm doing.
That there are a lot of people that are so like in your face, and not everyone is like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not everyone is like that, but that's okay. Everyone's different. It's good that everyone's different.
So you quit dancing, as you said, and then you tried a lot of like really different stuff that you found really rewarding, right? Like I think you were a youth worker for a while.
Yep, I was a youth worker, and I helped young people like express themselves through poetry and movement and music, and that was really amazing. I did that for I think almost 2 years, and I worked in Selfridges, and I worked in Tiger, which is like, I guess it's like a really sort of commercial bar in Piccadilly. So that was pretty full on. I did all sorts of different jobs. And then I started working like with circus sort of performers and cabaret in this weird kind of underground, it's almost like cultish world.
Tell me about that. That sounds pretty. Not everyone gets themselves into that sort of situation.
It's incredible. So there's like these weird shows that are put on. There'll be different performers come and you curate your own act. So say for me, my act was, I was sort of Betty Boop / Jessica Rabbit, siren jazz singer, and I'd wear like long dresses and like be covered in sort of like crystals, and my thing was always like to put a spell over the audience and sort of slink through the tables and like throw wine on people and just be like, it was just this, it was actually like, it was really important for me to do because it was a part of my personality that I'd never explored before, which is this more kind of like confident, sultry, in control like woman, I guess. And that was something when I was like 22, 23 I wasn't 100% in touch with. So it was so important for me to do that. But what was more important was to be able to make a different act every single week and make your own costumes and see like this amazing sort of Romanian girl who didn't speak a word of English, and she'd travel from like Romania to come and do this show, and she was a contortionist, but she could do a handstand and shoot a bow and arrow with her feet, like crazy things like that.
Really?
Yeah, it was incredible. Like, you know, the most amazing performers, sort of girls that could do hula hoop or fire breathe, or, you know, do performances with snakes, and or beautiful ballet dancers that could dance with swords. And
So what do you think it was about this sort of like environment that brought out that like performance confidence that you say you found?
I think, I don't know, I think it was just being around people that, they weren't like performers. It wasn't like stage school kids. It wasn't like that. It was like people that just had something to say and made an act and made a costume and picked their music, and they were completely in control of what they were doing. That was their act. And we were all so different. So it would be like, you know, you'd have sort of like 4 performers in each section, and there'd be like 3 or 4 sections. And I think I just learnt so much just about being yourself. And the main thing that I learned in that environment, which was something that I hadn't had before when I was a backing dancer or when I was at dance school, is just the people were so kind, because they weren't like in any way threatened by each other, because we were all so different. So like the girls, they end up being like your sisters, and you're like helping each other with like doing up your dresses, and like your shoes broken, and like, oh, you've left your hat at home, and all these different things. And just to be around in an environment where everyone's really nurturing each other, it was just so incredible. And that's just something that I've really taken through now to being an artist, and it's really helped me be able to collaborate with different people, because it's nurturing, and you're working with people that essentially you're filling in their blanks and they're filling in your blanks. And that's what's so special. I
do want to get to that aspect of collaboration, especially on LP1 in a minute. But I mean, I guess the thing about this, your experience in cabaret, is that everyone was so sort of like comfortable with their own sort of skills, and there wasn't sort of that everyone is trying to be the same sort of thing, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason that I ask about your dancing is because for everyone that's seen the live show, like, it's such a massive part. And I want to know if that's something that is just like within you, this character of like being, you know, very fierce but also so strong, or is that something that you're sort of like deliberately trying to cultivate? Well, that's the thing, and that was the most difficult thing maybe about performing as myself, because Twigs, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a stage name. Twigs is my nickname. It's like if you were called, I don't know, Richard, and everyone called you Ricky. Do you know what I mean? It's like, Twigs is just my nickname. I've had it since I was a teenager. So Twigs is myself, and it took me a really long time to be able to perform as myself. And now I do perform as myself, you know, like strength and the fragility and like the big moments and then the introverted moments, that's me. And I always say, even when like I go on stage with my like outfits and stuff, like I never want to feel like I'm wearing a costume. I want to feel that if I wanted to go to like a punk gig in Camden, like I'd rock up like that, like with my friends. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Cyan and Alj, who are in my band, I actually used to be in their band, and their band was like a punk band, so we'd like dress up, and like Cyan had like green hair, and like I'd do crazy makeup, and we'd go and perform in these like punk shows in Camden together. But it was their band, and I'd go and like sing a couple songs, like be like a guest performer.
Wow, that is so...
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. So like now, you know, with them, now they're in my band, and like Cyan helped me with my record. and stuff, and it's the same thing. It's like, it's amazing because I'm now 27, and like the guys, I think they're like 23 and 24, and when I first met them, they were like 18, 19. So I used to be in their band, and now they're like with me.
With you, yeah.
It's great, but there's still sort of, for me, that very much like that punk element, and I say it and people find it hard to understand. But when I moved to London, I got attracted to Camden, and when I used to do all my shows, I was doing it in Camden, and that's what, like, where the sort of punk scene like lived.
So you got like
London.
quite into punk music.
Yeah, I loved it. Like, but I just couldn't be a punk singer. Like, how can I? Like, my voice doesn't suit it.
Is that what stopped you?
Yeah, I can't do it. Like, because it wasn't my voice. Like, I would try
Right.
and do it, but it actually wasn't my voice. It was an act. Whereas, like, this is my voice, but it doesn't mean that I still can have that strength. I can still have that determination. I can still have that freedom, and then, like, I can do whatever I want. Like, yesterday I went on stage and I was wearing like a dress I wore for my birthday. It was, to me, it's like
the white one, right?
Yeah, it's like a ball gown. But then the night before, I was like all in these like straps, sort of like mesh, see-through, like really like bondage inspired outfit. And to me, like, that's punk. It's just being able to express yourself, and like, it's difficult to understand because people say to me like, oh, you know, but it's R&B. Like, well, it's, to me, it's not R&B music, because to me, I'm just doing whatever I want, and to me, I'm taking sounds that were like from an electronic music scene in the 80s, like from Kraftwerk. I'm taking, you know, like industrial sounds. I'm recording sounds on my phone from London, and I'm making that into my drum beat. Like, I record drips and I record like knocks and all these different things, and I make that into my music. So to me, it's like, it's so industrial. The only thing that I can't control is my voice, but my voice is my voice. That's how it is.
That is so incredible. We are going to... I want to take a track from the album now, and when we return, I want to talk a bit more about the album, and I want to continue on this because I find it so fascinating. On FBI 94.5, FKA Twigs joins me in the studio. That one taken from LP1. I was reading somewhere that the creation of this record was like, and I'm going to use your phrase, like... not like a purging of your artistic insecurities. I was wondering what that means. If you could elaborate a bit on that.
I think in terms of when I first started the record, I was working with like Emil Haney, I was working with Arca, I was working with Paul Epworth, I was doing lots of writing sessions, and then after maybe sort of 4 or 5 months of doing that, I just realised that I had to do it myself in many ways, and sort of take the work that I'd done with them that I was really happy, like take that as a seed or take that as a foundation and kind of grow what I was doing through that. And that's what I meant by purging of my artistic insecurities, because I couldn't really program very well. I've always been so involved with the music, but more kind of like, oh, you know, put that guitar there, or like I want the drum to sound like this, or, you know, we have to have a synth that sounds this way or like evokes this emotion. Whereas kind of when I started getting into my record, I realised that I wanted to be able to program myself and produce the music myself. And it's such like a daunting thing, because people don't really want you to do it in the beginning, because you don't do that. You know, if you're known for doing something, even if you like work in an office, it's like, no, you're the guy that writes great emails.
You stick to that.
Yeah. And then you're like, no, but what I really want to do is like do the presentations, and then everyone's like, no, but you're the guy that writes good emails. And so it's kind of, it can feel a bit like that. And even people that I was working with, or like, you know, little comments that people would make. And when I started getting more confident with using Ableton and producing music, I'd be in the studio just minding my own business, and maybe someone would like burst in with like a cup of tea or to ask a question, and they'd be like, oh, like, look at you, big girl, using a computer, and things like that. And obviously they don't mean it, and it's not like a horrible thing, but to me, like, those little phrases would like echo around my brain, and I'd like lie in bed thinking, I don't know, feeling like it was basically like me against the world in many ways in terms of what I wanted to do. So that's what I meant by like a purging of my artistic insecurities, was just like, no, like I can do this, and I will do this, and I'm going to teach myself, and, you know, I'm going to have to call up my friends at 3 o'clock in the morning and be like, this isn't working on the computer, how do I do it? And I'm just going to have to put it all out there.
And it's just about that determination, that you just want to do it, and that's it.
It is about determination, but then I think it's also just about not really listening to people, and sort of not letting anyone put you into a box, but that doesn't just apply, I don't feel, to what I'm doing with production. It can apply to anything, even sort of dressing a certain way, or you know, changing your job, or just like the tiniest things. Like if you have like long hair and all of a sudden you just want to shave it off because that's just how you feel, that's okay to do that. And it's weird because I think in this world it's so difficult to break out of yourself.
Do you experience this outside of not making music, but outside of that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that's just a massive part of being a human. Maybe is you are expected to be a certain way. Everything is rules. Everything is expectation. Everything is no. You're in that box. But for me, like I never have believed in that.
So how do you then, talking about that, and it's that sort of like ownership of the record and of the process, and like this is mine and I'm going to do it this way and my way. How do you sort of like reconcile that with you know, collaborations and working with your band and that sort of stuff?
I think for me it's working with people that I trust. It goes back to what I was saying earlier, and just working with like nice, kind people. It's really is as simple as that. For me, there's so many like amazingly talented people in the music industry, and right now, like the way that electronic music is going, like the sounds and the things that people do, it's just mind-blowing. But at the end of the day, like if you're not nice, and if you're gonna make me feel bad, or if you're gonna have like a weird ego thing, I just don't care at this point. I'd rather like work with some kid like fresh out of college
who's keen and wants to be there
and nice and fun, and that's the experience, and that's so important to me, like more even than the result, is that what I was doing felt really fun, because I think that comes through in the music. And at the end of the day, if I make a song with somebody and it's a collaboration and then I don't like the person, I've got to sing that song forever. Like forever. Everyone will be like, you know, screaming at me at a concert like, sing that one, and I'm like, no, it's too much, it's heartbreaking, I can't do it. So, you know, that's kind of my motto in terms of working with people. But I'm definitely like learning now to delegate and kind of let go a little bit. And I was talking to Tick, who's in my band and who I made my first EP with. I was like, 2000 for me is a year of like letting go and opening up and softening. Last year I needed to be hard, and I needed to be closed, and I needed to be stubborn, and I needed to be so focused, and like whenever anyone was telling me I couldn't do something, I just needed to be like, no, do you know what I mean, all the time. But now I'm opening and I'm softening, and that will bring wave to like my next, I think, creative inspiration, and meeting new people and travelling and just learning, I think, to let go a little bit, because otherwise, you know, I won't enjoy the journey that I'm going on now.
And that's, as you're saying, such a large part of it.
Yeah.
What is next for you? Not in like, I guess I want to know like why you're doing so many things. Like you're writing, you're directing your videos, and you're, you know, starring in them. Mm. How do you sort of, I was chatting to you off air, like that is just so much work. Mm. Does it feel like that, or are you just like, this is just what I love doing, so that's it?
No, it's exhausting.
It is exhausting?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, like last year I think I had like 3 days off all year.
Really?
Yeah, and I probably spent 3 daes off doing emails, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I probably was in bed with tea, but like doing emails. You know, yeah, it's really exhausting, but I don't know how to do anything else, and like the buzz for me is addictive. Like
it is addictive.
It is addictive. From getting ideas is addictive. Like I have to stop myself from having ideas. Sometimes I have to be like, okay, no more ideas, because I'll speak to like my manager on my label, and I'll say, okay, so I've got this song, this song, this song. I've got all this music. Like I'm going to put this out in May, this out in June, this out in July, and they're like, but it's like it's almost too much, which is like a great position to be in.
Yeah, totally.
But sometimes you have to have restraint. You know, my Pendulum video, I finished that 6 months ago, and I only released it a month ago.
So how long did that take to make? The whole thing, I mean, like...
Oh, the whole thing?
Starring, directing...
Oh, well, I shot the whole thing in a day. So I shot the whole thing in a day. It takes, like, with videos, it's more prep, especially if I'm directing it and in it. You've just got to be so certain of every single shot that you want. But as a director, I'm signed to Academy, which is like a production company in England, and they're amazing. So I can go in, sit in the office, like, make my storyboard. Like Morgan, who's my representative, like, he's just so helpful, and all the other directors there, like, you can go and ask them, like, okay, I want to get this sort of effect on a camera, like, what would be the right lens to use on this? And so I'm learning, and that's so exciting
with these nice people.
Yeah, with these brilliant people, and it's like a family. And I'm just, like, setting up now, like, my family. I have, like, my directing family, I have my music family, I have my, like, aesthetic and styling family. My stylist is my best friend and my big sister, Karen. Like, you know, I met her when I was 21, and she was just, like, this beautiful, like, chic, like, lady that was, you know, maybe sort of not that much older than me, like 10 years older than me, but, like, I just looked at her like this sort of beautiful 30-year-old and was just like, wow. And then now she's, like, my stylist, and she's amazing and makes me feel good, and we have so much fun. But it goes beyond styling. Like, you know, she'll say to me, okay, we have a shoot, what do you want to wear? And I'll just send her pictures of flowers and pictures of, like, textures within petals, and then I'll turn up and, like, all of those textures will be within the fabrics. So the way that we work is quite abstract. It's not just like, do you want to wear this? It's more sort of like a concept and a feeling. Or for me, like, if you feel strong, you know, like, referencing, like, the Jean-Paul Gaultier, like, warrior makeup and things like that, which is something that I'm really, like, obsessed with now. And it's just ways of, like, portraying what you feel on the inside, on the outside, and that goes for music, and that goes for visuals, and that goes for aesthetic, everything. But at the end of the day, like, why not? Like, I'm 27, I'm young, I've got energy. Like, will I be doing this in 10 years' time? I don't know. You know, will I be doing it next year? Definitely. Will I be doing it the year after that? I don't know. You know, I love, my favourite thing is disappearing tricks. Like, I've done it all my life. Like, moved from country to London. I moved from London to LA. Then I disappeared from LA and I went back to London. Then I moved from South London to East London. You know, I've just got out of the habit the last 3 years of changing my number every 6 months. I just used to change my number.
Just cause I just felt like it. And it's funny because I always have this, like, conversation with my flatmate, because she's had the same number since she was 16. Same. Yeah. And I always just say, like, why don't you just test yourself and change it? Because, like, people that are meant to be in your life will be there, especially now. You've got, like, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. If someone really wants to get hold of you, they could many do. Ways, yeah. They could do. So why not just do it and just see who's still there in 4 months? Like, you know. I'd forget my own number. That's the issue. I don't know my number. Yeah. But why not? It's just like, it's change. But I know that this is what I'm doing now, and this is what I'm 100% committed to. And that's when I did youth work. I was 100% committed to that. When I was a dancer, I was 100% committed to that. And now, like, I'm a music artist and a director, and I'm 100% committed to that. Is there anything else at the moment that you look at as some sort of, like, professional or something, and you're like, I'd really want to try that? You know what I mean? Like, you've already directed, like, your own video clips, you've produced your own and written your own music. Is there anything else that you're like, I'd really like to try that? I mean, like, creatively, I feel quite fulfilled. You know, obviously, like, I love directing, and that's something that I want to learn. I think that for me this year, like I said, the one thing that I really want to try is, like, a softening and an opening. That's what I want to try this year. What do you mean, a softening and opening? Just, like, to not be, like, so protective of myself, or not feel... It's difficult to explain, like, it's a hard thing to explain, but to be more open in terms of just, like, feeling calm and really, like, enjoying this thing that I'm on, and then being able to be, like a good person, which sounds really cheesy, but that's honestly everyone needs to work on it, I guess. Yeah, we all just need to work on it. And, like, sometimes it's so easy to, I think you can become so two-dimensional if you're so obsessed with your art.
you forget to grow. And that's a conversation I was having with my band, like, how can I grow if I'm always on tour? How can I it's weird because you think you would grow on tour, going to a different city every single day, but actually, like, you don't, because you don't really see the city. I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I come into a place and someone's like, oh, so, like, how are you enjoying this place? And I'm like, well, I arrived this morning,
I don't get to see much.
yeah, like, I've come to here, and then, like, I'll maybe try and go to the gym if I can, and then I have a show, and the next day I'm out again. So how can I grow if I do that? But for me, like, how I will grow is just, like, if I go back to London and just practice dancing, and all the dancers in London, like, we train at Charing Cross Station. So, like, just go to Charing Cross Station, go to the underground, and just, like, meet my old friends and dance and hang out and see what's going on. I did my birthday party in London the other day, and I saw so many friends I hadn't seen in ages. And it was at the end of the party, and all the dancers, like, there were voguers and crumpers, and they were all just dancing, and they were like, Twigs, come on, like, come dance. And I was like, I can't. And they were like, why? And I was like, because you're doing so many moves and I don't know what they mean anymore. And it was so sad. Like, it made me, I felt heartbroken, because I was like, I've been away from home for so long. Like, what is this new dance style? I hooked up, like, my favourite UK voguer, Benjamin Milan, and my favourite UK crumper, Dominant, and, like, they became friends, like, through working with me, and now they've made, like, a new sort of, like, dance style, and they're learning off each other, and I don't understand what it means, and it's heartbreaking. Like, it's the worst thing to see, because I'm like, I want to learn, I want to be at home, and, like, I can't. So I think, like, you know, I just, after I've been here, I've had such a nice time. I'm just gonna, like, go home, take all the experience I've learned from traveling, and then just go and put it back into movement, and put it back into, like, my old collaborators.
Twigs, I'm so sorry to say that we have run out of time, but it's been so good to talk to you. If you are lucky enough to catch her on Laneway, or you're heading along to the sold-out gig tonight at the Metro, you are in for an absolute treat, and it's been a real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me.